Hey, what's going down? You're on the recovery pod.
What's up? Been a
How's it?
minute.
It's been more than a minute. How's it been?
It's been pretty good. Just taking it one moment at a time. Literally, I don't know why, but as soon as you sent me the link, I get this sudden urge to pee. This happens every time.
Nice. Yeah, I always make sure I pee beforehand. So, everybody, listen closely. Now, go ahead and pee. Come back.
No,
We'll
I
cut this
already
part
went.
out. Oh, God. So, hey, what's going down? I guess it already went down.
About what happened just now.
I'm not editing shit.
That's fine.
Real, raw, and uncut.
That's what we're about, right?
All right. So, I have no idea where to go from here, but I can think it can only go up. Do you have anything on your mind?
Well, I was thinking today about how my life view has just been not like my subconscious or unconscious attitude and perspective towards just literally life in general has not been like the good peaceful way of just looking at it, because literally, like, I literally just figured this out, that literally living your life is about just trying to do things your best. Like, everything you're doing, whether it's like, working or just you're like doing hobbies or just literally just anything. It's
Yeah.
all about just trying to do your best, to just do it. And for me, I had this huge epiphany that I treated everything in my life as something that I was expected to do a certain way. Like, it wasn't anything, like, literally nothing was enjoyable, to a point where it's like, it had to be done a certain way. Otherwise, I can't face the feeling of it not being that way.
Right.
So I don't know if that's like a really deep, crazy level of perfectionism, or if it's just, I don't know. But my whole life, I mean, besides when I was in deep addiction, of course, because then, the whole perspective just gets screwed. But yeah, like, literally, I was just thinking about, like, because I study I'm in a fairly difficult major, and it's like I'm setting a sort of, like, everything has to be done a certain way for me. But it's like I'm literally just trying my best. And so what if I fail? So what if I fail a class? So what if I fail just, the whole thing, if I don't make it? I'm literally, that's just me right there. That is all it is just me. And I'm trying, and I'm just doing it. And whether it's work or just like hobbies, anything. Does that make sense?
Yeah, for sure. I mean,
And
like, what is the best? Like, it's kind of down to perspective, because you can pass every class, but if you have the mindset of, oh, I need to be like straight A's, then even passing the class isn't enough. And then if you're getting straight A's, but you're like, I'm not honor roll, or I'm not top of my class, then you can still view yourself as a failure.
yeah, it's almost like I'm missing every single bit of my life. It's just passing before me because I just want things to just be over with. And I'm not just talking like something as obvious as school. I'm talking like everything. I feel like I just want to get things over with so that whoever this made up imaginary like entity that's constantly screaming at me will just leave me alone. And it's crazy because like instead of viewing things as okay, I'm going to do this and I'm going to just be present with it. I'm going to enjoy doing it no matter what it is. And I just do it just to enjoy my time, and I'm doing it just to not to get some sort of result out of it, but to just because this is what I want to do. This is what I enjoy. And in reality, I enjoy what I'm studying, but I ruin it for myself. I ruin everything, every aspect of my life for myself because I set a standard. I set like a certain thing that I have to do it a certain way or be a certain way. And it's just like my whole life is just passing by. Like the past 2 years just like flew by because, or 4 years ever since I got out of rehab because I've been just doing everything just to get it over with because I can't
Right.
enjoy it in the moment. I want it to just be done. I want people to just leave me alone. But what are these people? Literally nobody gives a shit. And I'm just like, who am I trying to prove to or who, you know what I mean? And it's obviously it's boiling down to myself, but it's just like I don't know. It's like every single thing we're doing in our lives, from just like waking up to, just like going to work because we enjoy either making money or enjoy what we do, or we the way we do things, it's like, oh man, I gotta do this. But it's just like it's just not it's not an enjoyable way to live, and we're just meant to everything we do is just meant to just enjoy it, and we just want things to be over with, and just we want time to go by, we want to kill time, but we're not supposed to be killing time, we're supposed to be just living in it, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah, like I mean, let's just hypothetically say you go on this like super grind. You go hard, you get everything, you're not enjoying any of your time, you're just trying to get it over with, trying to get it over with. At the end, what does it even matter? You know what I mean? Like it is the journey, it's not the destination. And it all comes down to conditioning, perfectionism gets developed and it just becomes this like self competition in a way where nothing's ever good enough and you're trying to fill this void, and then even if you fill it, you're going to realize you have a new goal tomorrow, you're going to need to fill something else, and it's just this constant chase. So literally, if you are just constantly fighting tooth and nail just to get to the next checkpoint, what's the point? You know what I mean? You're
right.
going to look back and be miserable and be like, oh, I did it. You know what I mean? Like, that sucked. Okay, now what?
Yeah, and it's like we've talked about this before, but I'm really getting down to like the very essence. I mean, because everything just feels like a checkpoint. Everything. I mean, going to bed to see the next day, or getting off work to fucking, I don't know, play your video game, or finish playing the video game to go eat, or like finish eating to go to bed. And it's just like it feels like everything is just broken down into like these segments, and life just kind of feels like it's just all like broken up. And I don't feel like that's the way to just enjoy yourself. I feel like if everything just flowed, you're just kind of like flowing through, and with whatever event that's happening, you want it to last. And then when it flows into something else, it's even better. And it's like just want to make things last and not kill time, you know?
I mean, I'm gonna kind of disagree, because it just, I don't know, like the way you just broke it down, just you could basically just look at the entirety of life and be like, what's the point? And I don't think that's the right mindset. You know, you do these things like you work because you have to, and it's kind of good to do things you don't really necessarily want to do. That way it makes the things you do want to do that much better. Like I go to work all day, I do enjoy my job, but let's just say I didn't. You know, let's not that I don't think anyone should work at a job that they hate and spend most of their life in misery. But I mean, I go do things I don't necessarily want to do, but I have to do because I want the reward, like the money. It also eats up a fair amount of my time because if you get enough free time, you're gonna be bored out of your mind. You're eventually it's gonna always be like, okay, now what? Like, okay, I have millions of dollars. I bought every cool gadget there is. Now what? You know what I mean? So I don't know. I'm going to an extreme there, but you do these things because of the increments. You know, I go to work, cool. I get off work, it feels good to just relax. It feels good to kick back and watch a show or play my game. And I'm not taking this personally, like making what you said about me. I'm just kind of breaking it down. I eat the next meal because, you know, our bodies regenerate. I'm hungry. Food tastes good. I can enjoy this food. You know, I can enjoy the time it takes to prep a meal. I can enjoy the diversities of flavors that I can experience. Even if I've done it a million times, it's not a means to an end. Like I do this because I have to. And if you're feeling like that, maybe you can start to like do little mini meditations on these things to appreciate them, like shower meditations or eating meditations where you kind of stop everything and you truly are present with each bite and you are like appreciating the food for the nourishment it provides you and the ability to have the food. Like, I don't do it often, but there's times where I'm like, dude, I'm thankful that I live in a time where I can go to the store, the food's there for me. People have, you know, worked their jobs to get it there. You know, I have the money and means to go buy myself something, so I'm not sitting here starving. There's so many options. So, like, generational experience has experimented with all these foods and passed on the recipes. So, I have all the knowledge in the world and the ability to go make something that tastes good. Um, you know, like shower meditations where, you know, some people could be like, I gotta take a shower just because I need to so I don't stink. Like, or could be like, man, I got water running through the pipes, through the floor. Like I have water in my house at on command, just bam. It feels good to stand in a warm shower. I have soap to get me clean. It smells nice. You know, it really depends on how you look at it, you
Well,
know?
that's what I was trying to say. I wasn't
Yeah.
trying to say like you don't want the next thing to happen. I was saying you're okay with everything happening, just flowing
Yeah.
into one another. What I'm saying is when you're at work, you're not sitting there waiting for it to be over, not counting down minutes. But when you do end up getting off work, you're like, oh, yes, this is nice to finally relax. Like, I know it might have sounded like I guess I shouldn't have used you as an example, but myself, but
I didn't really take it as me and as an example. I don't know, and maybe I misunderstood how you said it. And either
yeah.
way, it doesn't matter because it's a good topic to talk about both perspectives. But like it just sounded like what you were saying, and just take me out of it because I didn't take it like that. Even though I got a little offended when you talk about my game, like, hey,
I
don't be
know,
dissing my
yeah.
game.
I
No,
heard
no, no,
that a
no,
little
for
bit.
real. No, no, no. It sounded like you were like, oh, this process of having to do this and then do that and then do this and then do that. That's not what it's about. And that's where I was like, well, hold up. I think that kind of is what it's about, you know, and it depends on the perspective when you're looking at it.
Well, see, my perspective here, I was just kind of like saying it from, how I was talking about how I've had this issue where even the things I'm supposed to enjoy felt like a chore.
Yeah.
Like, even, I'm just like, well, maybe I should write. Writing feels like a chore. Well, maybe I should paint. Painting feels like a chore. Freaking eating feels like a chore. Everything. And that was my issue is that I felt like somebody was forcing me to do something. I was set on a certain like controlled like a program. Like there's a there's a program
I
that's
already
running.
knew it was coming.
I'm sorry, I can't
Nerd
help it.
alert.
I just can't. And my whatever like me that's in me, the higher self, the authentic me, feels like has no say. And whatever is being programmed, it's like I have to just execute it. And it came down to me just not being able to enjoy anything. And when I try to sit there and think, well, what do I want to do? It is so hard because that controlling environment I grew up in was so controlling that it literally killed me. It straight up killed who I was.
I mean, yeah, you're
And
fighting like years of conditioning of like core beliefs, you know, that were ingrained in you one way or another. Those are hard to shake. You know, you don't just read a book, hear some new perspective, and then say, "Oh yeah." Like the defects you develop along the way, like in our teenage years and stuff, in our early adult life, from little experiences that kind of turned us cold or whatever. Those are the kinds you can shift your perspective a little easier. It's still
yeah,
really hard to do those. Like people, you don't understand how many times I'll like be like, yo, like this four agreements or check out a concept from a new earth and just kind of throw it out there. They're like, nope, instantly. Like, no. Their conditioning is like, that's not how my world is. I'm like, I know how your world is because the way you're talking, I've lived in your world and I felt how you feel. And I don't push it much further than that because they're not ready. But I do try to throw out anyway. That deep stuff though, it's like it's different than a perspective. It's like a belief. It's like a knowing, like a
yeah,
deep knowing. I know in my subconscious, my automatic response, and just it's just so deep, and it can be broken, but it's really hard. You know, I still
it's
have
so
deep core
fucking hard.
beliefs that are just way too hard. But I
Yeah.
totally feel what you're saying as far as the whole. I felt like I feel like I have so many of the similar issues except the opposite one. Like I mine were more social. So if I wasn't gonna tell if I didn't think my joke was gonna be funny, I wouldn't say anything. If I didn't think I was gonna be liked by my peers and seen as like not even just accepted, but a high regard, like if I'm not one of the coolest people there, I'm the quiet
Yeah.
one and I'm not involving myself. And it really just turned into not involving myself because I never just let things be. I never was just myself and comfortable. And I'm talking like elementary, maybe early middle school. Just was like, nope, completely uninvolved. I could have been like the smart nerd, but I didn't want to do all that work because I was super lazy. But like I was antisocial AF. So yeah, like that stuff was really deep in me, and it probably carries a lot into my adulthood too. I'm a little more okay with it now because like I'm pretty much myself nowadays. Like I don't really give a shit if people like me or not. But yeah, like back then the personality social part was hard. Nowadays I kind of still feel like my best self around my people, and then you know around strangers I'm not quite as myself, but I'm definitely not like the mute anymore. But that is the go-to response, like you know.
Yeah, it sounds like your deep issues had to do with like people like outside of you. And
Mm-hmm.
mine, I didn't have as much problem with the people. I mean, I had deeper problems with myself, but because of my problems with myself, that overflowed onto people.
Yeah.
So, and yours probably because of the external problems, they overflowed into you, but not on the extent that they were in me.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, I didn't I definitely you I had it outside pouring in, you had yours inside pouring out. Which is
yeah.
kind of cool cuz we can really like relate on different levels and understand each other even though we don't like have the same experience, and then we can offer like different perspectives on both sides, and it's kind of cool.
Yeah, it is really cool how just end up finding somebody with like exact polar opposite thing.
Well, at least the opposites attract. They wasn't lying though.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, but the whole like daily life thing, like if I think about, and this is just baseline shit, like if I think about what is the purpose of life, that automatically comes with an expectation. Like I'm
Ooh,
comparing life
yeah.
to what I think life should be. Where am I getting this expectation? From celebrities, from, the top of the top, from my fantasies. It's coming from somewhere. I'm looking at my life and I'm saying my life is not enough because, and I'm using an example from somewhere in my life that I saw life is for someone else and is not for me. So like I felt it a lot when like growing up, I had the honkiest, dooriest like family, very peaceful, very supportive and loving. However, when I watched something like Full House, or like something like that, and I saw a big family, um, maybe I started thinking, wow, these people like love each other and treat each other with respect. And I didn't play that into my core family, but I played it in with like the way I got along with my cousins, the friends in the neighborhood who were all rough and tough and like rude and mean to each other. And I was like, I didn't even say it out loud or really think much about it, but you see that example of what's on TV. It's fake, but you don't know it at the time. And then you're just like, wow, out there somebody has that, and I have this. Like my friends are calling me ugly and laughing when I say something stupid. Their friends are cheering them on and being all like boosting them up,
Mm-hmm.
and then it makes you think like, why don't I have that? You know what I mean? So it's like we pick these things up all over the place.
Yeah, that just sparked something in my head. Like, when we're seeing stuff on TV like this, and we see all this fake, unrealistic shit, um, and then we wonder why aren't we good enough to have it? We just start thinking badly of ourselves because of it. Like, I remember wanting to look perfect. Like, I used to watch America's Next Top Model when I was like 10, and it was like, because I didn't know English back then, that was like the easiest thing to watch. But I'm like, damn, these girls are so beautiful, and why can't I be this pretty? This like 10-year-old girl.
Hmm.
And I just like, I did not like myself because of that. I had like image problems since I was like very, very young, like that. And that's so sad.
Yeah. Like I've started looking at all this shit with like perspective nowadays. Like, I used to be like, oh, why can't I be like Eminem, right? And then you just see him where he ends up. You don't see his journey.
Right.
So when I got to know more about like some of the background, it's like, okay, this dude would like spend his whole paycheck on a demo. This dude would like live and breathe rap. This dude went to competitions and got laughed off the stage and then went back. This dude, whatever, he just did all these things because rap was his main thing. And then when I had my children and they were young and I was still really trying to make it as this rapper, I I I wanted to spend time with my family. I wanted to know my children. I wanted to like, do all these other things. But I would still look at like his end game and be like, why am I not there? Not thinking it's because you have other priorities than just that. You know what I mean? So it took me some time, like, because I had like a lot going for me and I was still very discontent because I was comparing myself to all these expectations and nothing was enough, because no mindfulness, no nothing. Um, and then nowadays it's like, even when I worked at Walmart, like nothing against Walmart, but that could be looked at as not the best job. You know what I mean? I would be like, I'm happy right here. Like, I have enough money to get food. I have a roof over my head. My car runs. I enjoy the people I work with. I have good relationships with my kids. I can go make music all fucking day at home. I got the equipment. I, what else do you want, man? You know what I mean? Do you want a nice shiny car? Do you want more money? You know what I mean? You're going to have to
Mm-hmm.
unbalance the scale somewhere. You're going to have to take less time at home, go get a second job, or go dedicate more to your music. Oh, you don't want to do that? Then shut the hell up. You know what I mean? That's kind of how I look at it nowadays. And then like even, I'll beat myself up sometimes subconsciously like, man, I haven't recorded a song in months. We didn't pod all month, you know what I mean? And then I'm like, damn, I should be doing more and more and more. And then I'm like, well, I mean, it's not like I'm just sitting around for days straight on the couch. Like I'm
Right.
working overtime. I'm getting my downtime because that's what I chose to do on those nights. What's the problem, man? I'm dedicating a lot of time to my recovery. Like, you made your choice. It's all good, man. Pod tomorrow. Pod for 4 hours on the end of the month, man. Like we're doing right now. Like, let's just get it.
Procrastinate like true addicts.
Hey.
But no, like seriously, it's all about looking at things realistically. I mean, realistically, for somebody to be working as much as you do, and for somebody like me to be studying, like, or taking as hard of classes and also working as much as I do, it's like, it's very hard for people to have such hobbies. And the fact that we're even able to crank anything out is pretty amazing. So instead of looking at the glasses half empty, the glasses half full. I don't know.
Yeah, for real. I mean, that's just the thing. It's all about perspective and it's all about reality. You have to look at things fully, realistically, because if I want to focus on one thing and I don't take into account anything else, I'm not looking at a reality. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? I'm not, if I just like all month didn't really think much about, and I'm just going to keep using the podcast as an example because that's the only thing lately I feel like I've told myself I've slacked on. You know, there's been times and things just didn't work out. Acceptance came into play. I could have made it work if I stayed up later and didn't get enough rest for work, but the next day at work would have sucked. I knew that and I made a choice. Same with
Yes.
you. We chose to spend time doing other things. I chose to spend time with my daughter. I could pot on the weekends. We're both off all weekend, but I want to spend time with my daughter, even if we're just kind of chilling, watching TV or whatever.
Right.
So it's, if you don't look at yourself realistically, you'll think, why am I not just grinding 24/7? It's because you can't, man. Like, just as much as you need to go to work and just as much as you need to be productive, you need to stop and you need to rest and recharge your batteries and get that downtime doing nothing, doing what you like, doing what you want. Otherwise, you're just pushing yourself unrealistically, you know.
Yeah, it's almost like that jumping extreme. Our minds want to jump to the negative extreme and just get sucked all the way in because it's so hard to look in the middle. Because, you either want to like jump to the complete like positive where you're like manic and shit, or complete negative. And it's so
Mm-hmm.
hard to get in that middle because that middle is what reality is about. And seeing things for how they are realistically is so hard because we're addicted to self pity and self, you know, um, I don't know, I don't want to use the word hatred, but like just putting ourselves down, or just we're addicted to negative emotions, like especially addicts. And so we would rather sit there and feel bad about something or get upset about it than just look at it realistically. I know I'll speak for myself. That's how I've been lately with like school. When I fail exams, I'm like, instead of being like, oh, well, next time I'll do better, or I just got to study more, or I just didn't want to study because I didn't want to take it seriously because it's kind of a stupid subject. But no, I had to sit there and like hop around and be super sad for a solid like 2-3 hours, feeling sorry for myself, like just getting high on that feeling. And yeah, and going back to the purpose of life, I mean, I guess is just learning how to look at things realistically and staying present. That's how it is for me. I mean, yeah, that does set an expectation, which I also didn't really think about, but it's just kind of like a goal to strive for, I guess.
Yeah. And I mean,
And
you got to think too, like the self talk comes into play so much because, all right, let's say you fail your test. You're more than likely, not just you, but like someone is more than likely being like, you fucking suck, you idiot, like whatever. They would not say that to their best friend. If their best friend failed a test, not only would they not say it just because it's not nice to say, they wouldn't even think it. They wouldn't
yeah.
have the opinion that you are a fucking idiot. You suck, you're worthless. They would think like, damn girl, like what's the problem here? Like, find, you know what I mean? Even if they're not
Hmm.
like all positive, find a solution, blah blah blah. They're probably like, did you study? You'll do better next time, like whatever. They're definitely not thinking the things we say to ourselves. And I don't know if it's just like ego, that's words popping in our head, or if it's just negative conditioning, but the voice is going to be there. If you stub your toe or you make a mistake, you're going to think like, oh, you idiot. But it's just the fact, like, do you believe that? And do you like listen to it, believe it, and follow through with that belief now, you know?
Yeah, I feel like it is conditioning because, when at a time when somebody has failed at something in their childhood, they were put down for it. And they were put down for the fact that they were the ones that failed. And that's why now they're hard on themselves, but not on somebody else. When somebody else goes through that, they weren't put down for somebody else doing that. You know what I mean? They were put down for themselves. So when somebody else goes through that, it's like, oh, it's just another thing. Does that make sense?
Sounds like that person thinks they're special.
Yeah.
It's okay for you to fail, but not me. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
you're okay. If you fail at something, you really are okay. But me, though, not me. I need to be 100% at all times. Fuck 100%. I need extra credit. Yeah. No, I totally feel you. Like, I was not allowed to be, really, my belief back in the day, I was not allowed to be normal. Like, I cannot be mediocre. I cannot be average. I am
Yes.
fucking so special. And I'm not even playing. Like, I legit was like, I'm so different. I am like an anomaly. You guys are all fucking regular. You know what I mean? Like, I'm one of the ones. I know it in my heart. I know I have the potential. Do I follow through with that? Nah. Why? Because I'm lazy, so I have excuses. You know what I mean? But if I even applied myself even a little bit, I'd be one of the ones, and everybody would know it. And then, you know what I mean? It's all talk. And it's funny because, like, not that I think I'm better than anybody else, but I feel more one of the ones nowadays with my humility and with my, like, with just without that grandiose attachment, self-image, you know what I mean, that I feel like it almost makes me more of what I saw myself as, but not like clinging to it or trying to make it happen, if that makes sense. Like,
Hmm.
I love how I write and how I make music. Like, sure, I think technically I could be better with some things, but I love who like what I do. I love who I am as a person. You know what I mean? Do I still have defects and things I don't like about myself? Sure. But I'd rather be me with my flaws than be someone else with different flaws or no flaws. I mean, nobody's going to have no flaws. But Yeah, like I don't know. It's hard to explain. I don't really know where I was going with that.
No, it makes a lot of sense. And yeah, like just I guess just it's all about seeing yourself realistically.
Realistically, keep it real,
Because
baby.
realistically, nobody's special. And realistically, you have good things about you and bad things about you. And same with me. Like, I used to unrealistically feel like I was literally like the worst thing to walk on this planet. Like, the worst person who has the dumbest ideas, who says the dumbest shit, who sounds the worst, looks the worst. Like, I'm not kidding. I almost didn't see myself as human. I saw myself as some sort of an entity or a robot who didn't have feelings or thoughts or anything.
Yo, I wish
And
I had. Remember, I was telling you the other day how when I was in the Keys walking for them 10 miles, I just lost it. I had like a little mini recorder that I used to freestyle into and stuff, like one of them
oh,
voice recorders. I
yeah.
literally, I don't know where it is. I lost it somewhere, and if anybody ever found it and listened to it, they have quite the entertainment. But like, I literally, like when I snapped and started that walk, I was talking like I was God and I was gonna smite the world. Like, I was just
Nice.
so like I I can remember the feeling. I don't remember a whole lot of what I said, but I remember this honed in, 100% focused feeling of really thinking I'm like manifested Jesus in this world,
Nice.
like walking this fucking earth, like lost, and just hating everything about it. Like it's sick, and it's just like I don't remember feeling like that after. I think I walked it out, but hey, it just goes to show you. And I don't even think that's a drug. I mean, it's definitely the drugs did not help, but it's mainly ego, and not just like ego, like oh I'm cool, like just following the direction of my thoughts and having my thoughts be so dark and focusing so much on these negative things, creating storylines, believing them, attaching them to myself as the reality. Really, I'm just some like bum chilling in the Keys, like at my friend's house. But in my mind, I'm this great person who had this set out destiny that I'm not fulfilling. And I have all these like labels for myself that everybody obviously believes and agrees with, and is just sick. But just the mental game all those labels played on me was insane. Like I could be doing great things and it's not enough. I could be, I don't know, nothing, and this isn't like nothing that I thought was how I actually was, good or bad. But I
Yeah.
believed it all. And nowadays, I just don't know. I don't know what I am. Like people, I just am what I am to different people. I'm sure if you grab 10 of my closest people, none of them have the same version of me in their head. And maybe none of those versions are what I really am or what I think I am. It's just whatever. It just is. Like,
Well, I was gonna finish what I was gonna say before I got interrupted, but now I can't remember.
well, I guess it wasn't meant to be. Uh. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, so I was basically what I was saying before was the exact opposite of how you were seeing yourself, how I was seeing myself. Um but now I'm realistically starting to see that I'm not as bad. In fact, I'm literally just on the level as everybody else, and whatever I thought was also not real. And I just hope one day I get to a point where when I read my poetry, I hear how good other people see it. When I look at myself in the mirror, I see the beauty that others see, and I'm just waiting for that time. And I'm taking all the steps to get to it.
Yeah. I don't know how you are with your poetry. Like when I'll make a song, I'll love it. I'm like, yo, this is it. As soon as I send it to someone else, I start looking at it differently. Like, let's say I send it to someone, like, yo, check this out. I instantly listen to it with a different ear. I don't love it anymore. I'm questioning it because I'm thinking, how is this person gonna perceive it? If someone writes me back and is like, nah, that ain't it. I don't like it. Um, I'll like not like the song as much as I did before. But if someone texts me back and is like, yo, that's fire, then it like reinforces my liking for it. I don't do this as much anymore, but I did it a lot, and I'm just wondering, do you do that with your poetry?
Oh yeah, definitely. 100%. Because I'm never sure of what my creation is like. I don't have the image. I'm always really hard on myself. Now, if somebody says it's really good, I kind of have a hard time believing them. Like, honestly, sometimes. Because I'm
Think they're just
just,
jerking your chain?
yeah, like just trying to be nice, or, obviously nobody's going to tell you that something sucks. But I know that when I read some stuff to you, you would be honest, because you're pretty honest about what you think about things. So,
Especially your food, right?
yeah.
Oh, too
Um,
soon.
but
Well, you gotta like consider the source too. So there's times where if I show some random person, I don't know what their music taste is. I don't know what their creative writing style is.
yeah.
So, are they a reliable source? Plus, like when you write something, it's coming from you, and you relate to it 100%. So, like if Eminem writes a song, maybe I relate to half of it or a part of it, but I don't relate to all of it, and at least not the way he does. And if I show like um, my boy Twans, if I show him a rap, he's really lyrical, and he does not write from emotion. He writes from his brain. He writes um, kind of gutter, but more like witty and punchliney.
Mm-hmm.
So if I show him like a passionate, emotional song, he may like it, but it doesn't hit him like that. You know what I mean? So I got to consider my source when he's like, I don't really like your love song, bro. Well, of course you don't, because you just like spit bars. You know what I mean? And if I made a really witty, like impressive, um, technical, lyrical rap, I wouldn't expect someone to like that who maybe liked one of my love songs, who mainly listens to emotional songs. So you kind of got to consider your source. You know what I mean?
Right. Like it always boils down to perspective.
Yeah. And nobody's ever going to like
Same.
everything, you know?
Yeah, it's perspective of art, perspective of just people. Because, like you said, not everybody has the same image of
No.
you, and nobody's going to have the same image of what you write. And it's all based upon the person's conditioning, too. So,
Yeah, you're never going to get everybody on board with anything. And that's something that I'm thankful that I came to terms with and kind of learned on my own, because You know, I'd like, I think I wrote a rap about my mom once, and she was just like, "Oh, cool." And for me, it was like super heartfelt and emotional and
Mm-hmm.
passionate, and and I'm like, "Oh, she's gonna love this," and she was just like, "Nice song, it's cute," and that
Oh
was
my
it. She
God.
probably never listened to it again, and that's fine because that's just not like what she connects with. And you know, like this podcast, I bet most of my friends probably wouldn't listen to more than a couple minutes of it, even the ones who are in recovery, even the ones who maybe like a lot of this stuff, because it's just, maybe it's not for them. Maybe they listen to something else that connects with them better. um, if I have 10 people who like my music, not all of them like every song I do. And yeah, I don't know, like that's, it seems weird at first, but really that's realistic. I don't really get involved with everything all of my friends do either, you know. So you find your people, you connect with your people, and you support your people.
Yeah, I just remember like whenever I read my mom some stuff that I write, she'll just be like, "Oh, nice." And it's just like,
My mom would rather
thanks.
have a, like my mom, she's big on cards. So like I know what type of cards to get her. If it gives me a little heart flutter, it's the one. You know, like I'm not really mushy. So I don't read these cards and think like, "Oh my god, it's bringing a tear to my eye." But if I get the littlest wave, it's going to bring a tear to her eye, and I already know this. She would
Mm-hmm.
rather me give her a card like that than write her one with all my emotion in it, and that's fine. Like that's what she likes. You know, and it used to bother me, you know, but it's understandable too, because just because this is my preferred style of message delivery doesn't mean it's hers. And if it's for her, why not let her do that, you know?
Yeah, and it makes you feel better when you deliver it the way that she would like it more. That gives you more to you and just to the both people. So
Yeah.
it's not, it's kind of just like realizing that not everybody's gonna have the same likes, the same tastes, the same perspective, the same just anything as you.
Yeah.
Just realizing everybody is so different and accepting and embracing those differences instead of hating.
Yeah, it's like I like Love NF. You probably don't. You know what I mean? So so you may think like, oh, this is cool, whatever. Like, but for me, it hits me different. I get chills when I listen to certain songs, and they just connect with me like, bam. Maybe you're like, oh, that's a cool song, and then like don't listen to it again. But you know what I mean? Or what I've come to find out when it comes to creating your own stuff, I feel like all over the place because it's like one thing that everything's kind of interconnected like a web. But
Mm-hmm.
when I love something I do, I get more people love it. You know what I mean? Like there's a few songs where I was like, "Oh, this is so catchy. This is gonna be the one," and it's like, "Nah," because I didn't feel it. I just thought it was good. Then there's some where it's super personal to me. I feel like nobody's gonna connect with it because it's too personal to me, and people are like, "Yo, like that's amazing." Like I did a song about Destiny, who's like kind of one of my unofficial kids, and I'm like, ain't nobody gonna like this song. This is just from me to her. I wrote this just solely about her, and everybody loved it. Like my mom, my aunt, they're like, oh my god, it brought tears to my eyes. Like I'm just like, really? Like I mean, it's good, but like really? I didn't think you'd care about half the shit I'm saying in this, and everybody just felt it. So it was, I don't know, that's just, it's kind of funny how that works. So I feel like when you're working on your poems and stuff, like if you're looking at it questionable, or you think you're doing what you're supposed to do, you lose a lot of that spirit. But if you just do it, and even if you could write a freaking poem about toilet paper, if it's passionate, like, yo, people are gonna feel that shit.
Yeah, it's just all about putting feelings into it, and people can sense those feelings, even if they're not relatable to your feelings. Like, they just sense that there's an emotion.
Yeah.
Like, I can see why somebody would like an F. I can see why, it just hits them that way. But and I can see the emotion, but it just doesn't resonate with me because I'm not feeling those things anymore. I used to love that shit, but now I feel like I'm just resonating on something different. And like, you like lyrical stuff. You really focus on words and what the person's saying. For me, it's music. I feel like sound can carry over like 1,000 times more words than, just words. Like, it, I don't know. I love sound.
Yeah.
I love it.
I don't know if you know this, but words are sound.
Duh.
No, I know. I
Good
seen you when you're
one.
listening to one of those like EDM songs, and you're just like, "Yo, this part right here," and you just like lose yourself, and I'm just like, I mean,
No,
it's cool. I like it. It's just, but yeah, for me, the
I
words
always
connect in
tell,
the meaning.
yeah, I always tell people feel this part with me, and they're just like, what the fuck are you
What are you
talking
talking
about?
about?
I mean, some people do, but not everyone.
Hey, no, that's cool, man. I mean, do your thing. If you feel that intensely over something, like go for it. That's what's up. That's how I feel with certain songs. Like I don't feel like I feel quite as many nowadays, but some do still hit me like that. And it is the music too. Like everything just lines up perfectly. But like for me, it's the words. Like because the words, one, I get like intrigued by the way they rhyme, and then two, I get intrigued by what they say, and then I get intrigued by how they say it. So it's this
Mm-hmm.
combination of the
Yeah.
beat, the cadence of their voice, the words, the way the rhymes connect, like, and the content of what they say. So like sometimes it's one or a few of those, and I like it, but it doesn't hit me. But when all that shit just flows together, it literally just I get goosebumps, and I'm just like, yo, like I am just on multiple levels extremely impressed right now, and just happy, present, and vibing. you know.
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel like with sound. I just kind of see like different I can hear different layers and almost like visualize. I just love visualizing shit, and I feel like sound is like the easiest thing to visualize.
Mm-hmm.
And also when it comes to like words too, when you have like, you know, lyrics that I love like the simple ones that it just says like a phrase that like somebody sings and it just hits so much. Like something like there's a song I've been obsessed with, All in My Head. Like that's all she would say. And it just holds so much more because it's just that one thing. And you're just sitting there like thinking about all those things that associate with that saying, that phrase. And it also, like, for me, it's a combination like that too. But I also do appreciate like what you were talking about. But
Well, thank you.
yeah. I do see that too.
Thanks.
You're
Thanks a
welcome.
lot.
Kind of got off topic of recovery for a minute, but hey, music though, that's definitely recovery too. I mean, there's times like that, I don't know, music has gotten me through like everything. I mean, when I'm in school and I just fucking hate everyone that day, like I have my headphones in all day and
Yeah.
just that escape, that just being, oh my God, I go so far away whenever I have my headphones in. Or when I'm having like a horrible day and I get home and I just blast music and I just dance to it. It just makes me feel so much better. It's such a good tool.
Yeah, I don't know what I would do without music. And it's totally recovery related. It's totally like anything that can make you feel good in a natural, healthy way is what we're about. But yeah, like music has really got me through some dark times too. Like just having that song to like latch onto to let you know, hey, I'm not alone. Like somebody else
Yeah.
feels this. Somebody else has gone through this. Like I'm feeling your emotion. I'm feeling your pain. Maybe you even got a solution in there, but at the very least, I'm not alone here. Like when I first got clean in 2010 or late 2009, like Eminem got sober with like Not Afraid came out and all this stuff, and I was just like, yo, like how tight is this that like, I've just followed like so many things from this guy, and now he's sober too, and now I have an anthem to like, fuck yeah, I'm just like blaring this shit. Like not only am I excited for new Eminem, he don't sound like a retard anymore, like rapping like an idiot from his other album, but it's about recovery. He's spitting all this like positive motivational stuff. Like I am on
Hell
that.
yeah.
That song helped me a lot, for real. And not even just recovery songs, like even some of like NF stuff, even though it's like down and depressy sometimes, it's so real. It's so like, yes, I've either felt this before or I'm kind of feeling it right now. Like a couple songs came out when I was going through some things last year, and it was just like, I need this song right now. Like this shit is just hitting me just right. So yeah, and then being able to write it and express it, and just whether I'm writing it in like a book form or song form, like shit is just coming out. It's you're putting a spirit into words and you're sharing it with people, even if you just do it yourself to express it and get it out. It's so healthy. Like journaling, all that shit is just, there's so much power in words and music, because you could sit
Yeah.
there and jam out on your guitar and probably have a spiritual moment.
Yeah, journaling is this shit. I mean, basically anything that you create, anything that comes from you that, you just do and not focus on how it turns out, but just like whatever is happening in the moment from that, that's the shit right there. Like the reason why I've had trouble with, you know, doing any of my hobbies was because if I'm not doing this like perfectly, if I don't get the perfect result, I don't even want to pick it up. And that's why
Yeah.
I've quit so many things. But it's all about just enjoying the state of creation in the moment. Just feeling like you're in control of this creation. Like I've just had such bad problems with feeling like I'm in control. I felt like something was constantly controlling me. Something was constantly telling me to do things a certain way. And I just forgot from, when I was very, very little, I can't even remember, maybe like 4 or 5, that there was a time where I was in control of what I'm doing and I enjoyed it just because I did it, not because it had to be done. That's it right there. Doing it just to do it and not because it has to be done. That's the ultimate thing right there.